Hey guys, welcome back from spring break. I wanted to make just do a little message here to kind of run through the testing stuff. They came out last Friday with all the testing information, so I want to run through that. Couple of things. They are offering two dates. They're offering one in May. It's actually a week later than we were going to. So originally it was I think May 4th or 5th, and now it's going to be May 12th, which gives us an extra week, which is great. There is another date in June. I'm assuming that all of us want to be done by then. So anyway, here's the time. So it will be May 12th, and then of course we're right here Pacific time. So at 11 a.m. is when we'll be taking the test, and everybody will be taking the test that same day. So, oh, I said that wrong. Sorry. We are Mountain Time. Sorry. So it'll be at 12 o'clock at noon is when we'll be taking the test. Here's just some information on the test. So instead of, normally we have 45 multiple choice questions divided into calculator, non-calculator, and 6 free response, 2 calculator, 4 non-calculator. That's all out the window. So what's going to happen instead, right? It says up here, students will have 25 minutes to read and respond to question 1, and then 5 minutes to upload their response. After uploading their response to question 1, students will have 15 minutes to respond to question 2, with 5 additional minutes to upload their response to question 2. So basically two questions. Two questions, one of 25 minutes and one of 15 minutes. If you remember back when we talked about this test, they averaged out about 15 minutes per question on the normal AP test and the free response. So it looks like question 1 might be a little bit longer than the normal questions. Question 2 will probably be pretty similar to what you'd see on a normal test. You can't, like it says on here, once your response to question 1 has been submitted, you can't go back. So you only have those 25 minutes to do question 1. You have to submit it, and then you can move on to question 2. So there's a breakdown there, right? Question 1, 25 minutes. Question 2, 15 minutes. The way they're weighting it, 60% will go to question 1, 40% will go to question 2. Question name, they're both multiple focus free response questions. Descriptions, says the questions will assess student knowledge and skills developed in 2 or more of the eligible units or topics. Says the same thing for both of those. So that's kind of like the outline. 2 free response questions. One will be a little bit longer, you get 25 minutes. The second will be shorter, you get 15 minutes. You can do it on a phone, a computer, laptop, desktop, phone, all those different ways. They say they're going to have ways to keep you from cheating, but we don't really know what that will look like or what that will be. They did mention, I think it says this here later on, that you can actually type up your work, or you can take a picture and submit it. Okay, so it says question 1 will consist of similar components to a traditional AP calculus exam questions with minor modifications to enable students to choose to submit either typed or handwritten responses. So really, I think the same with question 2. So I think the important is similar components to traditional AP Calculus exam questions. It's still going to be really important for us to go through the reviews because they're all old AP questions, and the questions you have are going to be similar. Again, they may just modify them a little bit to make them easier if you want to type it. But notice how you can still do a handwritten response, which is what I would recommend. If it were me, I'd always want to do a handwritten response. Question 2 is the same. There's nothing really new there. The units that they're talking about here, units 1 through 7, those are different than our chapter test. And I'm going to go through in just a second the things that are not covered. So 1 through 7 covers pretty much everything except for area between a curve, volume when you rotate it, volume when you do cross sections, and applications of integrals. So it includes everything but that is free game. But chapter 8, which is the things I just numbered off, won't be. And again, I'll go through that in detail, the things that won't be covered. Let's see. Okay. It says what students prefer to type their responses on the computer rather than handwriting, and photographing will be provided with a keyboarding tip sheet. in advance to the exam. So we'll talk to you about how you can put different mathematical expressions in on a regular keyboard. Again, if you want to do that, that's great. I would 100% do the handwriting and photographing. Just work it out on a piece of paper, take a picture, and send it in. Questions from the 2020 AP Calculator exam are designed such that a graphing calculator or other calculator is not required. However, use of a calculator is allowed. Simple 4-function calculators are freely available as apps for computers and phones and can be installed beforehand for use on the exam. So basically, calculators are free game, and we can check one out from here. Sounds like you can use one on your phone or anywhere else. It doesn't matter. It doesn't sound like the question. It sounds like the question is going to be designed that a calculator won't be that beneficial for you. That you could do it all without a calculator, but it is. You can use one. So as we get closer, if you want to check one out, let me know. So we're going to talk about when you go through and do your practice. We're going to talk about calculator or non-calculator. The ones you're going to be doing would be considered to be the non-calculator one, where a calculator is not necessary, but it is available. For that reason, then. On all these, when it says, don't use a calculator, I still want you to practice not using a calculator because you need to practice showing your work. If it asks you to find an integral and it's and even if you could do it in your calculator, you ought to be able to show your work and know how to do it without a calculator. Let's see, no arithmetic or calculations will be required beyond what can readily be done with a pencil and paper. Okay. So AP Calculus AB students are advised to submit unsimplified numeric answers. So just like before, right? There's no reason to simplify your answer down unless it specifically tells you to. You don't want to lose points because of arithmetic errors. This is the makeup test. It's on June 1st. Again, I'd be surprised if any of us want to do this, but that is an option if you can't take it the day you're on that May 12th when you're supposed to. Okay, let's run through really quick. This is everything that is in that Unit 8 of the AP Calculus, College Board's Unit 8. So these are the things that will not be on the test. Okay, so these won't be on the test. Okay, you will not be asked to find an average value. So average value is out. So I'm going to go through. And as we do the reviews, I'll tell you which problems to skip, or it may just be parts of problems that I want you to skip because they apply to one of these. And so if you ever see an average value problem, don't need to do it. Okay, that will not be on your AP test. We're not going to worry about reviewing it. Connecting position, velocity, and acceleration functions using integrals. Hey, the key thing here is it says using integrals. So it could go the opposite direction with derivatives. They could give you the position function, you have to find the velocity or the acceleration function, but it will not go the opposite way. Okay, they will not give you an acceleration function and ask you to find the velocity, or give you a velocity function and ask you to find the position. Okay. 3, using accumulation functions and definite integrals in applied contexts. So anything that's applied problems involving integrals. You guys remember all those accumulated things where you take, for example, a rate function and you accumulate it to find the distance that something traveled? Those are all out. Okay, so no applied problems involving integrals. Okay, the rest of everything else I think is all talking about area, right? We will not be finding the area between curves in terms of x, or number 5 says in terms of y. We're finding the area between curves that intersect at 2 or more points, volumes of cross-sections, squares, rectangles, volumes of cross-sections, squares, and rectangles, volumes of cross-sections, triangles, and semicircles. So all those volumes of cross-sections is all out. And then the last couple are just finding volume with the disk or washer method, revolving them around the x or y axis. So I think it's kind of unfortunate because I think those are problems we usually do really well on, but there will be no area problems. There will be no volume problems where we use integrals to find those. So just to be clear, there will still be something with integrals on your test. It just won't be applied problems. And so they consider applied problems to be accumulated functions, accumulated values, going backwards from acceleration to velocity, or velocity to position, or any of the area or volume problem. So all those are out. So what I'm going to do each week is I'll post the assignments on there, and I'm going to redo the count. I'm going to work on the calendar. I'll get this week's out later today, but then I'm going to redo the calendar so that because we're going to have a little more time. We're not going to be doing that big practice. Like I had scheduled a week of practice. We're not going to be doing that. So we're going to kind of slow things down a little bit. I forgot the week before the break to do the memory quiz 2. So we're going to do that this coming Friday. Okay, so do memory quiz 2 this coming Friday. But just keep an eye on that calendar on Canvas. Okay, make sure you stay updated. And then every so often, I'll let you know ahead of time, but every so often I'll ask you to submit. In fact, I think that probably the next one will be this coming Friday. I'll ask you to submit how you did on the assignments. Some of you still haven't done it for the last assignments, so make sure if you get those done, you let me know. Hey, one other thing too, just to consider is they did offer that if you wanted to, you can actually get a full refund on your test if you decide you do not want to take it. If you do decide to do that, make sure you talk to me first. We can either call and talk, or we can do it through email or through a Google Meet or whatever. But make sure you're talking to me before you make that decision. You guys, most of us have put in a whole lot of work this year, and you don't want to walk away without credit. Anyway, I hope that kind of answers the questions, like on the format of the test. I'll keep you updated as far as reviews go. If you're interested today, also from 9:30 to 10:15, I'm doing a Google Meet for my Math 2 class. But usually I don't get a whole lot of people call in, so if you have questions or want to talk to me, I'll post that Google Meet on as an announcement also, so that you can go through and look at that. Okay, guys, I'm excited. I miss you. It's not much fun not having you here. I feel kind of disconnected, but make sure you guys are talking to me and we're staying in touch. And hopefully this all made sense. Again, if you have questions, make sure you ask. There's probably others that also have questions. But anyway, we'll talk to you later.